You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Enjoy real time. On the Robert Show. Discussing politics, the things that make us tick. On the Robert. On the Robert. On the Robert Show. Now welcome to the Robert Show. Welcome to the Robert Show. You ain't gotta go. Welcome to the Robert Show. Welcome to the Robert Show.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Roberts Show. So glad you tuned in. We have a great show for you today. Excuse my voice, I'm a little hoarse today, but we're going to make it through the show. We have a great show for you this afternoon. So, as I always say, go in that refrigerator, get that pop, get that Coke, get on the telephone, call a neighbor, call a friend, and let them know that the Roberts Show is on the air. We have a great, fantastic young man here with us this afternoon by the name of Professor Chris Johnson. He's also with the Count Basie Band, and he's going to be up here in a few, and we're going to go further with the interview, but he's into a little bit of everything. I just learned today, just speaking with him not too long ago, some of the things that he's into, which has sort of blown my mind because I didn't know he was into everything that he's into. But we're going to get into that when he comes forward. He's going to let us know just about him and his travels, where he's going, where he's headed, and he's going to let you know about his band as well. We have a great show. We don't have the question of the day, but we do have world news for you today. It's been good to come your way today. I'm a little excited because of the guests that we have. I've known this gentleman for quite a while now, and he's just fantastic. And everything he does, everything that he touches really comes to life. So we're going to go to our commercial break, and we're going to come right back. And at that time, Chris Johnson is going to be up here with me, and we're going to take the interview a little further then. So at this time, we're going to a commercial break, and we'll be right back. But remember, go to that refrigerator, get that Coke, get that pop, call a neighbor, call a friend. Do that all now, because when we come back, we don't want you to have to move. So we'll be right back with you, so stay tuned.
Enjoy real time.
What if you had a chance to do it all over? What if you found that chance to make things right? To take back from what the enemy has stole from you. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up and fight for the battle of righteousness. It's yours, and we take it by force.
Beat 'em up, man.
Well, welcome back. As you can see, I have Chris Johnson with me at this time. Professor Chris Johnson, I don't want to forget that because he is a professor. He teaches at the University of Utah, and so we want to always recognize a person when they have a title. Welcome, Chris, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I really
Oh,
appreciate it.
it's really my pleasure. So, we go back a ways. I've known you for a while, but let's get a little background on how you actually got started in the music field. Could you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, definitely. I went to Southfield Lathrop High School, where I had the pleasure of studying with Damian Crutcher,
Oh, I know him
Maestro
well.
Damian Crutcher, that you all know very well here at the
Yes,
Robert Show.
yes.
And actually, I love telling this story because when I first met him, my freshman year of high school, I was not a good musician.
Oh, really?
I did not show a lot of promise.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was not a very disciplined musician at all. My freshman year, he scared me so badly.
That sounds like
During one of our
sounds
rehearsals.
like Crutcher.
So
That sounds like
in,
him.
in a large marching band, I was second to last chair
Oh, wow.
out of all the students. And one day we were playing Proud Mary, and he stopped the entire band and he said, "Johnson, you don't know your part and you don't think I can hear you, but I can hear you back there." And I was so terrified of that man that I would stay after school when my sister was in cheerleading practice and practice every day.
Oh, wow.
Not because I loved it, not because I wanted to get better. I just didn't want him to yell at me again.
You wanted to impress him, in other words.
And by the time halfway through the semester that we did auditions for the symphonic band, I had gotten good enough where I ended up being the third trumpet player in the entire school.
Oh, wow, wow.
And then I said, you know what? I'm good at this. I have some talent with this. I should do something with this. And then the love came second, but fear was first. Fear was the first part.
But he brought that fear out of you.
Right.
Because if he hadn't, you wouldn't be where you are today.
I owe him so much for that. And for me, I don't think fear is the right word as much
Okay.
as it was realizing that I wasn't living up to my full potential.
Okay, okay.
And realizing that by not living up to my full potential, that I was letting people down.
So in other words, he brought that potential out of you then.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and you went on from there to what, University of Michigan?
Actually, Michigan State.
Michigan
So I
State.
went on from South Lathrop to Michigan State. I got my bachelor's and my master's there.
Okay, okay. Well, how did you get all the way in Utah?
You know, in academia, part of what we deal with is the willingness to go where the job is.
Okay.
And so you apply to jobs that are all over the country, in some cases all over the world, and you get interviews places, and you have to find the right fit. And so for me, University of Utah provided a unique opportunity because I'm the director of the Jazz Studies program. And so it was really an opportunity to lead and develop a program the way that I saw fit, and to really have a program that represented my unique way of approaching music and my unique way of teaching.
Okay.
So that program has really provided me an opportunity to not only be a leader, but to be an administrator and to really put my own voice and stamp on the way the program is run.
Okay, now, when we say jazz studies, doesn't that include other venues or other genres of music?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in any school of music, usually the core of most music programs is studying theory and studying music history, and a lot of those things relate to what's known as, classical music theory, history, etc. And so my students study a number of different things, but their emphasis is on jazz music. Right,
Okay,
right.
okay.
And the way that I view it is that means the emphasis is on Black American music. That's really what I prefer to call it.
Black American music.
Yes.
Okay. Now, also, you're a part of the Count Basie band.
Yes.
Now, how did that come to be about?
That actually happened right after grad school. So while I was at Michigan State, I had the great opportunity to study with a trumpet player named Derek Gardner. Fantastic trumpet player and composer. And when he was about 23, 24, he joined the Basie Orchestra. And so when I was in college, he was always telling me stories about what it was like to travel with the Count Basie Orchestra. I remember one time we were sitting having breakfast, and he was telling me about how he was in Switzerland, and he was riding on this train in Switzerland and looking at the mountains, and it was this beautiful experience. And I was thinking, man, I will never in my life ever experience anything like that. Because in college, you don't think that all these impossible things are actually within reach.
But you should. You really
Right,
should.
and you
though.
should, and you
Yes.
should. And right after grad school, I was kind of, finding my way, figuring out what I was doing. I was teaching at the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. I was teaching private lessons, playing local gigs. he called me and said the Basie Orchestra is looking for a trumpet player, and they asked me who should do it, and I recommended you.
Oh, wow.
Next thing I knew, a couple months later, I was on a 6-week tour, and that was my audition. My audition was a 6-week tour with the band, and that's how I got my place in the band.
So you didn't stand up in front of anybody and audition. You just played.
You know, I asked them, I said, can you email me some of the music? You know, should I take a look at something? Is there anything I can do to prep? And I didn't get a response.
Oh, wow.
And so when I showed up to our first sound check, we get to our first sound check, and we read through one song. And it's the only song in the book that's straightforward. You start in the left corner and go all the way down to the right lower corner. It's the only song in the book that's like that. A lot of the music has a lot of different cuts and movement. We played that one song, and they said, okay, see everybody for the gig. And so for 6 weeks, I sight read the book and learned the music on the road in front of an audience.
Oh, wow. So there was no rehearsal.
There was no rehearsing. No.
Oh, wow. You got to be good to be able to do that. You really do. And they saw that in you, and that's why you're there with them. So
I'm
how
very
long have you been with them?
I've been with the Basie Orchestra since 2008.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's coming up. It'll be 10 years in February.
Wow, wow, wow. And not only are you a musician, but you're also a writer and a publisher.
Yes.
And you have this play out now called Jim Crow. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah. So I wrote a musical that I started when I was in grad school called Jim Crow's Tears. I was really inspired by, there's a Spike Lee film called Bamboozled that I saw when I was in college. And as I was watching this movie, it was really depicting and talking about and dealing with the history of minstrelsy and blackface performing. And I was just amazed that I didn't know anything about the subject. As I was looking at it, I was wondering, like, what are they talking about? What is blackface? What are these things? Because there's been such an attempt to erase it from our history.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
That I think to a detriment, because we don't really end up truly learning about where that history is. And we see this cycle repeating right now, where we allow non-black people to take our music and to take our culture, and instead of shedding a positive light on it, which has been done, in many cases it can also be exploited and then used against us to depict us as being something other than what we really are. And to me, that's what happened in minstrelsy, and that's what we see happening a lot in modern media now.
Okay.
So I was inspired to write a musical. I wrote the music and the lyrics and the script initially, but then a few years back in 2013, I was paired with a great playwright by the name of Gary Anderson.
Okay.
And Gary Anderson wrote a script that beautifully complemented the music and the lyrics, and we really kind of reimagined and recrafted the musical. Did a performance at the Charles H. Wright Museum back in 2013, and then just recently.
Yeah, Crutcher was telling me about that, and I missed that.
Oh, it was really special. And then we just performed it again in Utah.
In Utah, yeah.
Yeah, to a sold-out audience.
Oh,
And it was also put out on a CD. It's actually available for sale right now.
Oh, really?
Yes. If you go to jimcrowstears.com,
Okay.
or to my website, chrisjohnsonmusic.com.
Okay. And now I'm finding out so much about this young man today. I never knew he has his own band. So tell us something about your band.
So the Chris Johnson Group has been together since 2007.
Wow.
I've been playing with the core members of my group are Darrell Campbell, Nate Wynn, and John Dixon, just phenomenal musicians from Detroit. We actually started performing together through the Detroit Symphony Orchestra's youth program.
Okay.
So Marcus Belgrave was directing a group called the Civic Jazz Orchestra, which much later in life I ended up being a director of for a couple of years. But I met these phenomenal musicians, and we started working together. And then this was back in 2000 when I first met them. By 2007, everybody was out of college, and we started actually performing together. And we had a weekly gig together. We would do a lot of different festivals and things. And we actually formed an educational group called the Learning Express. And we've just been playing together on and off for years. This is our second CD as a group, and it features my girlfriend, Lulu Fall, who's a phenomenal vocalist from Washington, D.C.
Now, are we speaking of the album that's
We are,
going to be
yes.
released this week?
Yes, this project is called The Unpaved Road, and it's a partnership between my band and Lulu Fall, who's a phenomenal vocalist and composer. She wrote all of the lyrics and melodies of the songs that she's on, and I wrote the accompanying music. And she's actually traveling here to Detroit to perform with us next Monday, the 21st, at the DSO.
At the DSO?
Yeah.
And what time is that going to be?
That's going to be 7:30, and it's in the venue inside Orchestra Hall that's called The Cube.
The Q.
If you go to
And-
DSO.org, you'll be able to see that
And
information.
tickets, it's a ticket program, I take
It's a
it?
ticketed program, yes.
Okay. And you can get the tickets right there at Orchestra Hall? or-
Right. You can either go to the Will Call at Orchestra Hall, or you can go to DSO.org for more information about how to purchase
And that's
tickets.
next Monday, everyone.
Next Monday, Monday, August 21st, 7:30 p.m.
Sounds really good. Chris is going to play for us. I don't know what he's going to play, but he's going to play for us. So, Chris, I'm going to let you play something for us right now.
Okay.
And then we'll get back into the interview a little later.
Okay.
All right?
Sounds great.
Let's listen to Chris, everybody. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. How great. How great.
Thank you,
Now,
thank you.
does that have a title, or is
That-
that something you just improvised
That
at?
does have a title. The beginning of it was improvised, but that's actually a track off the album called My Apologies.
My apologies.
And that's off the new album, The Unpaved Road.
That's coming out this week, everybody. It'll be out this week.
Yes.
And we want you to get it. Well, how can they purchase it?
So right now, if you go to artistcentricmusic.com, the album is actually available for digital download pre-sale. So you can get online right now and purchase the album and get 3 immediate downloads. And then on Monday, August 21st, you'll be emailed the remaining pieces of the album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I feel so fortunate that I've got my cold copy and I didn't have to pay a dime for it. You know? that feels really good, you know. Hey, unpaid. Unpaid. Okay, Chris, now, how often do you travel?
At this point, I'm traveling during the school year almost every weekend.
Every week?
Almost every weekend. So I have 2 young boys, Bennett and Jonah. They're 5 and 7, and they live with their mother in Michigan, even though I work in Utah. So I'm traveling about every other weekend, 2 weekends out of the month, to see them, to come to Detroit. And then I'm also traveling with the Count Basie Orchestra, and then I spend quite a bit of time performing and being in New York City as well. So usually I'm teaching during the week in Utah, and then traveling either to Michigan or on tour somewhere on the weekends.
On the weekends.
Yeah.
Wow. You got some miles. You got
Yes.
some miles.
Yeah,
Maybe I need to.
Yeah. And,
Maybe, go right ahead.
oh yeah, no, and I was gonna say, to kind of follow my travels and follow what I'm doing. My handle on all social media is Chris Johnson Music, and that's spelled K-R-I-S, Chris Johnson Music. So chrisjohnsonmusic.com or Chris Johnson Music on Instagram, Twitter, etc.
Well, Chris, it's been my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
I am truly in awe of all the things
Thank
that you're
you.
doing. I don't know how you do it all, especially traveling back and forth, but I know you want to be a part of your children's bringing up, so I understand that part of it, but traveling with the Count Basie Band and you have your own group and all of this, my God, man, when do you rest?
On the airplane.
On the airplane. Well, we want to thank Chris for being with us today. He'll be back with us a little later on when we do our world news segment. But we're going to go to a commercial break at this time, and we'll be right back with our world news.
Sit back and enjoy real time.
What if you had a chance to do it all over? What if you found that chance to make things right? To take back from what the enemy has stole from you. It's time to wake up. It's time to wake up and fight for the battle of righteousness is yours, and we take it by force.
Beat 'em up, man.
Wondering how I get out, or should I stay right in the same place? Oh, can I?
We travel all around the world, from city to city, state to state, to bring you the world news. Come on and tune in. You need to find out what's going on. And you're watching WHPR TV 33, Comcast 91. Let's talk with Robert and Precious.
Okay, this is our world news segment, and you know I don't lead this portion of the segment. This is always done by our own sister Erica Crawford.
Hello, everyone.
So it's in your hands, Erica.
Hey, Robert. Hey,
Hey.
Chris.
Hello.
Good to meet you, and I'm so glad you're on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. This is great.
All right. So, according to Washington Post, today Donald Trump finally gave a statement
Isn't that something? Finally.
regarding the violence from the protests between the white supremacists and the oppressors in Charlottesville on August 12th. People are outraged because he did not call out the white supremacists.
No, not at all.
And unfortunately, one woman died and many people were injured. He said this was a grievous display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. Listen, this man will not call it to what it is.
No, he won't. No,
What
he
is
won't.
his problem? What do you guys think about this?
Well, rarely is anyone that is not a person of color referred to as being a terrorist, and that's exactly what these people are.
Yes.
And these are hate crimes, and these are racist people. People can label it however they want to as nationalists, this and this and this, but it's racism, clearly.
It really is.
And this man is constantly tweeting about God knows what and making all sorts of threats and calling everybody out.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
from the news outlets, etc. But when it comes to calling out some racist terrorist,
Right.
he has a problem. He has pause. all
And
of a
that's
sudden.
crazy because not only the Republicans, the White House, and the Vice President, they all call this out as white supremacy. But
Yes.
he don't want to say anything. They call it like it is.
Not at all. And even being on TV today, he didn't really call it the way it should have been called, you
Yes.
know. And he never gave any apologies or anything, or said, I'm sorry for these people doing these things to the American public, you know. And I don't know what to say about this man. He's loco, if you ask me. He is. He does not really have it all together. That's just my
does
opinion,
not.
you know. That's how I feel about it.
Right.
Because he doesn't do anything like it should be done or in the right way. You know.
That is
At least
correct.
apologize to the people, to the American people, for this one group doing what they've done, but not to say anything.
Call it what it is.
That's right.
Call it what. And of
Absolutely.
course, he have had the reputation of saying one thing, doing another. And in this instant, you know, the American people want you to call it out.
That's
you know,
right.
especially
Very much so.
people of color.
Yes.
You know, because they had all these things going down there, and you like, okay, you know what it is. Don't go around. That's the issue with
Yeah.
him. You want to go around it. You point the issue right where it is. You know, and that's crazy. That's just crazy. You know, it is unfortunate because on this show, we bring up these issues, but we want everyone that's out there, the other white people that are not part of the white supremacy, say something. Go to your local government, you know, make him call this thing out. Because you can't say you're going to be the leader of our country and you don't want to call the things as it is. You
Absolutely.
know, they want to cover it up. Racism is dead. No. It's still yet kicking and yet
Very
alive.
much so, and it's coming more and more alive
It
each
really,
day,
really is.
each and every
you
day.
remember when he was running for president, it was people that was going crazy on his campaign trail, and they were, you know, fighting African American people. It was just nonsense, you know. And I wish the American people open their eyes and see these things as it is. Donald Trump, you need to call this out. Don't
Very much
brush
so.
it over the rug or go around. You know what you see, you know. And
Absolutely.
have you guys ever have you ever experienced racism before?
What person of color hasn't, right?
That's what I was getting ready to say, you know, in some
Can
form.
you give a personal experience?
I can't really give a personal experience
Okay.
because I've never per se. You know, people have a tendency to do things and you don't really know that they're doing it
Okay.
until later on and you find, oh, you know, they tried to play me, you know. You know,
Yeah.
you don't realize it at that particular time. But later on down the line, when you really think about it, you've been just that way. Racist.
Yes.
Racist.
Yes.
Racist. Racist.
I experienced it one time. I walked in a mall and I wanted to get my lashes done, and I walked in this particular store, and the ladies did not say hi, didn't say anything to me, but it was some other ladies came behind me, and they were another color, and they were like, hi. They didn't know them, they were strangers. But unfortunately, I had to experience this. But I called it as, oh, okay, I see how you're not going to receive, you know, you're not going to receive my services. You
That's
know?
right,
So,
that's right.
But that is, you know, our world news. I just want the people to, you know, our president, you call it out. You know,
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
You
so-
got anything else to add to that, Chris?
You know, the experience I had recently with racism, as you know, I work in Utah right now, Salt Lake City, Utah. And I have to say that community has embraced me fully. I'm very supported there. There are a
that's
lot
good.
of really, really beautiful, wonderful people.
Okay.
But one experience I had is I was at a university function, and while I was there, I actually had someone, assume that I was a student instead of a professor. And actually, when they introduced me as Chris Johnson, he said, "You don't look like a Chris Johnson. You look like you'd be more of like a Muhammad or
Oh,
an Ahmed
wow.
or something of that nature."
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Well, that is our world news segment. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, it's my
Chris.
pleasure. Thanks
It
for
was
having
great
me.
to have you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me again, Robert.
Oh, always. You know, always, always. You're like my right arm and my left arm too. You know,
Yeah.
you pick up a lot of pieces around here. So
Yes.
hopefully you'll always be around. Always be around. You and Alonzo both, because I really appreciate both of you helping me to do this, to bring this. I could not do this by myself.
Okay. Okay.
So that's it, everybody. Thank you for watching The Robert Show. And don't forget, we'll be back on the 24th. We'll be back on with another guest, and we'll see you then. So take care. I hope you went to that refrigerator and told a friend to call, you know. Until next time, have a good evening.